The surreal image of the three letters that revolutionized the industry shown for the first time on WWF television closed the SmackDown broadcast last Thursday to start the build-up to the nWo arrival, with the three original members now all officially signed with the company, as the show, which came 3 days after a cryptic message from McMahon on doing something that even he might regret himself, featured a show-long angle of Vince saying that he won't let the company he created slowly die under Flair's leadership, to instead inject it with a lethal dose of poison and kill it himself with the nWo. With SmackDown, which in addition to the McMahon promos saw two big star power main events with Austin vs Booker and Rock vs Angle, with the winners facing off on Monday for a shot at the title, jumping big to near record levels with a 4.2 rating and 7.5 million viewers. One of the most watched WWF programs of the past year, with the loaded-up second hour featuring the two main event matches and the payoff of the McMahon nWo angle, spiking to a 4.5 rating with over 8.1 million viewers for the entire hour, in big momentum heading into the follow-up on Monday night. "4 days after the McMahon announcement to officially kick off the anticipation to the nWo arrival without detailing to the wide audience which members it might be out of the group, Hogan, Hall and Nash flew to the WWF headquarters last Friday to begin preparations for their TV debut, now set for the No Way Out pay-per-view, going over the storyline direction and their expected opponents along with promotional and marketing stuff over the weekend after signing 2-year contracts, with Hogan after signing his deal a few days after Nash and Hall set to work as a heel in front of the WWF audience for the first time in his career, with the crowd response to him making his first appearance in 9 years one of the most intriguing aspects of the upcoming debut, while Hall and Nash are set to work under their real names in the company for the first time after their previous runs as Diesel and Razor. And besides the expected tension in the locker room due to their reputations, with political fireworks expected to go off shortly after their arrival, another major aspect of the nWo contracts would see them signing deals of up to 10 and 12 dates a month, in a similar schedule to Rock's current deal of only working TV and pay-per-view shows along with rare house show appearances in major markets, bringing up another reason for potential resentment in the locker room for the nWo, who are set to come in as the focal point of storylines heading into WrestleMania, with the product now built around the hype of their debut, with major buzz in every area of the industry to see how things unfold, either for the behind-the-scenes ramifications or the on-screen performance, with Raw on the first show after officially showing the letters on television and the first chance to see if there's any indication of boosted interest, seeing the first hour showing an unusually large growth of over 1.5 million viewers from 9 to 10 p.m., with viewers tuning in larger numbers as the hour went on. After kicking off the broadcast with the recap of the McMahon nWo angle, the Saw SmackDown last Thursday going off the air with over 8.3 million viewers watching it, with Raw outside of the nWo intrigue promoting 3 big matches in advance, with Jericho defending the Undisputed title against Maven, along with the first Triple H vs Booker match in the main event of Austin vs Angle for the #1 contender, with Raw next after a Van Dam vs Regal IC title match, seeing a Page and Godfather vs Christian and Storm tag match going 4 minutes, picking up to a 4.6 rating, with Vince McMahon arriving to the Richmond Coliseum moments later. After saying that he's gonna go to the ring to confront Vince McMahon the moment he arrives to the building, Ric Flair walked out at 9:44 p.m. for the big segment of the night, set to address the nWo arrival for the first time since McMahon's announcement last Thursday, talking about his history in the building after a big ovation from the Richmond crowd before turning to the main issue, saying that he watched Vince's meltdown last Thursday, thinking about how to make him change his mind in the past 4 days, saying that he went to the studios at Stamford, Connecticut, telling them to put together the greatest video of all time, chronologically going through the entire history of the WWF from the beginning with Vince Sr. to the last 20 years of Vince Jr. and everything in between, introducing a 4-minute video package to Kid Rock's Lonely Road of Faith song in one of the greatest pieces of wrestling footage ever produced, with the company going all out to acknowledge every major era and influential figure in its history, with all political and personal feelings put aside in a rare occasion, building up the nWo arrival as the monumental moment in history it should be by emphasizing the history of the company built through the past 50 years with the biggest moments of its biggest ever stars and greatest boom periods in a video that will be replayed for generations to come as an all-time WWF highlight, coming back to a big ovation from the crowd in the building, with everyone watching from Flair to the announcers reflecting on the emotional response to the video, with Flair setting the stage saying that Vince Sr. had a vision before Vince Jr. took it to the next level to build it into the worldwide empire it is today to bring him out to the ring, leading to Flair for the countless time in front of a potentially new fan base created in the peak period of the past several years or long-time viewers, justifying his reputation as an all-time great performer with another classic promo face-to-face with McMahon attempting to change his mind on the nWo, leading to Vince finally responding with an ultimatum saying that he wants 100% of the company back, telling Flair to sell him his 50% and get out of his business or he's bringing the nWo to destroy everything the company stands for, with the fate of the WWF now in Flair's hands, giving him 48 hours to think about it to hype the response for another major confrontation on SmackDown, with the Flair McMahon segment along with the video package in the middle seeing Raw spike big to the peak of the night 5.1 rating with over 6.9 million viewers already in the first hour, making it the most watched quarter of the night by a wide margin of over 600,000 viewers and the first segment to enter the 5 rating range during the first hour since last September. While in another rare situation driving the 9 to 10 p.m. hour to outdraw the second hour, doing 6.1 million viewers to set up the big follow-up segment with Flair's answer for this Thursday in front of the potentially even larger audience on network television. After the big Flair McMahon segment following up on the nWo announcement, with viewers now knowing that they won't show up tonight, Raw, which saw the first hour climbing huge throughout to peak with 7 million viewers watching by 10 p.m. perhaps in anticipation to the nWo debut, gradually dropping from that point on, with it now clear that the group is not gonna show up at least until Flair's answer this Thursday on SmackDown, with Chris Jericho vs. Maven for the Undisputed title in a match booked with the idea of Jericho giving Maven a shot after not being officially eliminated from the Rumble and getting the headlines for the shocking Taker elimination, opening the second hour to go 3 minutes with Jericho retaining after several close near falls, with Maven, who just a few months ago was working as a school teacher with no background or history in the business, finding himself nearly winning the WWF title at the top of the hour quarter on Raw in front of the primetime TV audience, with the post-match scene Taker continuing to get Maven back for the Rumble elimination as the match, despite being placed in the usual big pickup spot at 10 p.m., dropping to a 4.8 rating largely due to the circumstances, with it following the Flair-Vince segment minutes earlier, with Taker following up with a backstage promo saying that Maven is gonna live with the consequences of his actions at the Rumble until he decides that he's paid up, while explaining his attack on Rock to cost him the #1 contender match last Thursday, saying that Rock disrespected him by bringing up Maven eliminating him from the Rumble match, similar to Flair setting up Rock's response for SmackDown, with Rock off the show again tonight filming additional scenes for the Scorpion King, making it the second out of the last 3 Raw shows that Rock won't be on, with him set to make his return at the SmackDown taping tomorrow night. with Rock due to the chaotic schedule in the next month not set to work any house show matches in the near future, with his next non-televised event set to be in the big overseas tour to Japan on March 1st that would see him and the rest of the crew on tour, missing another Raw show on March 4th, as Raw's second hour continued to slide, with the half hour in the middle between 10:15 to 10:45 doing a 4.5 rating, with the two top matches of the night of Austin vs. Angle and Hunter vs. Booker being saved to go back-to-back in hopes of picking up and finishing the broadcast strong in the main event. The first ever Triple H vs. Booker T match in what was also Hunter's first televised singles match since May 2001, opened Raw's final quarter to go 5 minutes, with Booker getting the surprise win, with him going over in the continuation of the Hunter-Stephanie split angle, with her interfering to distract Hunter for the finish, and with Triple H's TV segments and matches seeing mixed results outside of the massive boost for his return segment on January 7th. Hunter's first singles match back, followed by the post-match angle of him kicking Stephanie out of his locker room, saw Raw in a major disappointment for the high-profile match, dropping to a near-show low 4.4 rating between 10:45 to 11 p.m., in a quarter which also featured the final commercial break and the entrances of Angle and Austin to kick off the main event seconds from the top of the hour. After setting up the match with each going over Booker and Rock in the qualifier matches last Thursday, Steve Austin vs. Kurt Angle for the #1 contender at Chris Jericho's Undisputed title at the No Way Out pay-per-view saw them going 11 minutes into the overrun, and with the show sliding in every quarter since the Flair McMahon segment over an hour ago to drop from a 5.1 to 4.4 rating. The Angle vs. Austin main event, putting on their usual strong performance, rebounded over 600,000 viewers to close the broadcast at a 4.7 rating, seeing Austin going over to set him up as the #1 contender, followed by him also laying out Jericho with a stunner to start the build-up to the Jericho vs. Austin pay-per-view title match at No Way Out in 3 weeks.